It's probably gonna be Thaos. Well, this looks like a... Okay. I think this is going to be, the final fight. I'm gonna call it right now. That's not how you spell Thaos. There you go. Which means this last episode is probably gonna be pretty long. I hope you guys enjoy. Well, I mean, maybe not. I guess it depends on how hard it is to kill Thaos. Oh, do we have to like... Oh, I see. We have to go like around like that. Okay. Do we have to fight things too on our way? Doesn't look like it.
Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen?
No. I can't talk to them right now. Okay.
I am trusting you to remain loyal to the gods in this. If you do not, you will have greater powers than me to answer to. But you will answer to me as
I remember that line.
I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
Alright, here we go, guys. This isn't the boss arena. I don't know what is, right? Oh, okay. Oh, is he gonna show up behind me? That's bullshit. Oh, no, there he is. Never mind. You've come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with Adra and trimmed with copper. At the far end, a great pillar of Adra pierces the floor from below, like a ragged spike, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Your thoughts are yours, and not yours, and they are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Thaos, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others, spinning madly in your mind, but you don't dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first, some hint of the veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Your mind races, weighing different angles of approach, your emotions barely in check. What is this place? Was Eivora telling the truth? That machine behind you, what does it do? All these statues, who are they of? Was the entire Inquisition based on a lie? Let's get straight to the point. Was the entire Inquisition based on a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
What is this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Utica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
The machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
All these statues, who are they of?
They are monuments to Utica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
Was Eivora telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
You are shaking now, having lost all patience for tact. No more evasions. You have to know. Everything you believed, everything you have done for the gods. Did you lie to me when you said the gods could end suffering? Thaos says nothing. Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
Thaos' face remains a mask of impassivity. With Thaos' last word, you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage and doubt and fear and hopelessness until you can take it no more. Are there no gods?
We're in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months.
With maddening calm, Thaos puts an index finger to his lips.
You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
His eyes linger on you, and there is no mistaking the threat behind it. And your rage shrinks at the image of an iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked with the dried blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again. But we have our answer, I think, huh? There he is. Doesn't look like he has his helmet on.
How did you find it?
I didn't. It was Lady Webb.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
She loved you. It was reason that guided her hand in this. You put her out of her misery. It was reason that guided her hand in this.
Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare talent and intellect.
Blind obedience is a lot to ask of someone with a mind of their own. Her talent and intellect were too great for her to live as your servant. Blind obedience is a lot to ask.
What of your cohorts, then? They have followed you to their deaths. Is it loyalty that brings them here? Or is it, as my agents suggest, that they have no direction of their own? You worshipped Aethys, did you not?
Your spies are good. What gave me away? The cake?
I love Edir.
Yet when your god needed you the most, you chose your country.
Edir frowns, irritated.
We were being invaded. Not by anyone who was acting like a god.
Then I should think your hometown gave you a hero's welcome when you returned.
Thaos gives a thin, patronizing smile.
Well, they made cake. And I think you can expect folks to get jumpy when the gods aren't there to reassure them. Maybe if they weren't all too busy trying to kill each other.
The gods argue over how best to prevent Kith society from destroying itself. These disruptions would not be necessary were mortal instinct not so diseased. You have devoted yourself to studying the work of my people.
Thaos turns his attention to the big Amoa.
I thought your people had much to teach us. That we too could create great machines, improve our ships, make an empire as vast and impressive as yours ever was, built upon your secrets.
And did you ever consider that these were things you were never meant to understand? That their comprehension is beyond you?
I know better. The Ingwithans weren't an infallible race. You were never gods. All your petty experiments, your heinous crimes, your glorious achievements, you were just people, and your time came and went. Ingwith is a lesson now, or for those who remain.
You are living in the time of my people, Amawa. You owe them more than you will ever comprehend, and so it shall ever be. Greater civilizations than yours have attempted to reclaim what we buried. The greater their successes, the worse their fates in the end. I have seen to it. I understand your Duke's bells gave you a mission.
Thaos' sudden attention causes Pelagina's feathers to ruffle.
Their orders do not absolve me of my greater responsibility to the safety and well-being of the Republic.
Pelagina lifts her head defiantly. You might want to skip over this one, Thaos. Don't want to pick a fight you can't win.
Yet you disobeyed. Something you already have a reputation for. They will know, of course. If it had been for a worthy cause, they might have forgiven you. But I don't see them pursuing animancy after seeing what it's done here. They trusted you, and you disappointed, as you always have. And you will again be disowned.
The parents scold, but the children are safe. Whether animancy research continues in the Republics or not, they will survive. For now, that's enough. In any case, I wouldn't be so smug about my fate, Thaos. I imagine Woodica responds to disappointment much more severely than even mine.
Damn, Pelagina. I like it. She takes a long step forward, a sinister smile spreading across her face.
State your name and purpose, young acolyte.
At the sight of Aloth, Thaos' mouth twitches derisively.
My name belonged to the gods and my hand to their service. No more.
Aloth's eyes darken.
You serve none but yourself. Without contact with your order, you can have no higher purpose. Only the base concerns of the flesh. You have cast yourself from our ranks.
And I should have done it years before. I'd rather live in uncertainty than servitude.
And that uncertainty would lead you where it leads everyone. To doubt, to emptiness, to the many cruelties inspired by disbelief. You will have to forgive your Grandmaster for remaining skeptical of his initiate's choices. You are far from home, dwarf.
Thaos looks down at Sagani.
I knew my hunt would send me a long way from Masuk. It was a challenge I was glad to undertake for
She
my
raises her
village.
chin.
A journey, then. It must be of some import to take you so far and to last so long.
It's important to Masuk, and so it's important to me.
You are here because you are lost. The gods cannot reach everyone, I'm afraid. May you fare better in your next
He
lives.
directs his gaze at you.
I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago.
What do you know of our business?
You think your abilities only flow in one direction. That isn't how it works, I'm afraid. Not for me. For all that you saw of my soul in the sanitarium, I saw as much of yours.
Our business will conclude when you have told me all I wish to know. I lived my life by the lies you told. You owe me the truth. One of us is going to die in this room. You may as well admit your lies to me before that. Number 3.
I answered your questions once. That your soul is not fit to accept the answers is of little concern to me. I lied to no one. Not to you, not to anyone. The gods are real. They are everything we need them to be, and the world is better.
You denied a generation its place in the world. You're saying this somehow improves things? You have lied to everyone, yourself most of all. You convinced me once that spreading your false faith would end atrocities, yet here you are committing your own.
The spread of our faith ended many such atrocities. I do what I must to ensure it continues to do so. The heart of this country has skipped a beat, nothing more. I have done far worse. I plunged the peaceful kingdom of Tolosis into civil war. I slew the monarch of Desantio, whose people never knew hardship under his rule, and replaced him with a cruel despot who brought them to ruin. When plague arrived at the great city of Arborensis, I saw to it that the cure did not. They piled their dead outside the city in heaps that rose above their walls.
This is supposed to diminish the damage you've done here?
It is to show the proper perspective. There was a time, back when your soul was still a shapeless mist, when the world believed only in false gods. Thousands of them. Gods that told them to take slaves. Gods that told them to make war upon their neighbors and devour the slain. Gods that told them to burn their children alive and cover themselves in the ashes as a sign of their faith. But all that changed when they learned of the true gods. Our gods. All those misshapen, bestial instincts melted beneath the radiance of our god's majesty. You could see it in their eyes. That dull emptiness replaced with the glimmer of a kindled spark.
Teaching them there were no gods would have achieved the same purpose. The spark of false hope. You led them to overcome their nature. The spark of false hope. Teaching them... I don't know about this one. The spark of false hope.
There is no false hope. Only hope for things that never come. Have you imagined this existence? The one the apostate would have created. We are not all so virtuous as she. Without our gods, the most wicked, the most tyrannical, they would take that power for themselves. But more than that, it would be a hollow existence. All mysteries forever unanswered. All purposes constructed from meaninglessness. No endings to bring closure. Only a wheel, turning without mercy, grinding our spirits to dust.
Thaos no longer looks at you as he speaks. The reflection of the ancient machine flickers and dances in his eyes. You underestimate people. If that's how it has to be, then so be it. Your way comes at too great a cost. Better that than live a lie. You're right. That's no way to live. Better that than live a lie. I don't know. Better that than live a lie.
Telling yourself each day that what you do matters, that it isn't all for nothing, that the world is just. The apostate's world is built on believing lies. All I have seen, the millennia of experience. I will not be dissuaded from this course. This is the only way.
At least admit it. Admit to me that the gods are not true gods. I need to hear it from you. Then you must be stopped. You are blind to think yours is the only way. You're controlled by your own doubts. Then you must be stopped.
You are not the first to say that. Nor will you be the last. As long as the cycle churns, my work will continue, unbroken. With your soul and thousands of others, I will see this world purged of its suffering. Hear me, Woodica. Your servant calls for
Thaos
aid.
puts his hands out low to either side as though welcoming some unseen guest. He shuts his eyes and casts his face skyward. In dialogue. Oh shit, he's powerful. No, those are just statues. Impressive. Impressive. But not as impressive as Console Hot.
I'm ready.
Summon it all, baby.
Yes?
Summon everything. You attack him.
Yes?
Ready, Watcher.
Hey,
There we go. Knock him down. You after him. After him. After him. All of you. Take him down.
Yes?
What is this one? Is he a spellcaster? Try that on him. Interdiction. Attack him.
I'm ready.
Good. Get us one of those.
Aye?
Were you able to steal any spells from him? No, so he's not a spellcaster. Go ahead and do that on him. Okay. Do this. You gonna do that on him right there? Oh, we're dead. What is happening? Okay. Resurrection on Aloth. You keep attacking.
Hey.
Knock him down.
Eh?
Heal. Okay, Aloth is in danger.
Eh?
Okay. Heal here. Man, that's a lot of damage happening. Okay. Mark the target.
Following your lead.
Summon. Some of these guys on him. Okay. Heal again. All of you on him. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Do this. Hit them with that. And do this. One's down. Move to this one. Go ahead, heal. Do that. Come on, everybody get up. Okay. Yeah, everybody fire. And knock him down. Okay, it's just Thaos now. Everybody move in. Do that. What does this do? Do that. He is injured. What else we got? Sworn enemy. Gonna do that.
Following your lead.
Do another one of these on him. Everybody attack him. Is he getting healed? Can we stop him? Okay, everybody back on him. Self-immolation.
Hey.
Go and do that. Do you have a takedown effect? No. Wounding shot. Console hot. Go and do that. I guess we just keep attacking him, huh? Do another wounding shot. How long am I... No, you attack him. How long am I dominated for? 2 seconds. Alright, I'm back. Oh, he's dead. He's dead. We did it.
I don't suppose we could rest a spell.
At your feet rests the body of Thaos, hollow, the dense wrinkles shaped by the silent shouldering of an eternal burden now smoothed across his color-drained face. His soul remains still for the moment, defenseless, its energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I can't imagine having that much.
Connor looks down at the body, his head bowed.
After journeying for lifetimes, I can't imagine his failure. Knowing it was all
Sagani absently scratches Utamak's head.
In his own way, Thaos must have truly believed he was caring for the people of Eora. protecting them from themselves. A shame his soul won't have a chance to reflect on his errors before it enters the wheel.
He was good at serving his god, I give him that. But he should have picked a better one.
He spent his lives, more than any of us will ever know. For what? Binding the world to a lie. Could a man like that ever be redeemed?
Aloth shakes his head, looking down at Thaos in pity and wonder. He looks up at you. Explore Thaos' soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Thaos' soul, and where in Brackenberry it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, now it is expansive and borderless. Its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Ingwith as you pass through them. You travel for what seems like ages, rushing to a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it. No more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel, expanding slowly at first, then quickly as you near. You come out in the room you are standing in now, but it is new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned toward the great Adra pillar and the machine that encases it. Thaos stands at the machine, and you are one with him now. You look out at the crowd, at faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked little girls, all mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers clasping their children's restless hands and watching you with somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back toward the machine, your breaths constricted beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow, sending tremors through the platforms beneath you. The entire room shakes now with the force of the accelerating machine, all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one, the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into gray heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above the Adra pillar, and a glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the columns, where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous, like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement, and look back up to see it melt into the pillars like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light, bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs has passed, the chamber is still, and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed in through the memory, and you find yourselves in your own skin. You find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down at Thaos' lifeless body. You sense a listlessness to Thaos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it, and you are able to do with it as you please. Return it to the cycle. You will remember this, Thaos. Remember that no man can hide the truth forever, and all you've done was done in futility. Your memory shall be your penance. Tear his soul apart? I do not envy you, Thaos. I of all people realize the sway memories can hold. It is time you were granted peace. Banish his soul to Braith Yaman. Thaos ix Arkannon. There can be no forgiveness for your deeds, only justice. You shall escape judgment no longer. Destroy all memories contained within. Your memories make you a slave to your own past. Perhaps it can't be undone. But it can be forgotten. It shall trouble neither of us any longer. Tear his soul apart. You caused me great suffering, Thaos. You do not deserve to exist. Ooh. Ooh. So I have two options to destroy his existence, right? So he won't be reborn. One for revenge and one for justice. We can return him to the cycle. In which case, he'll come back and be exactly the same, except for the fact that, in theory, we could go around telling everybody that, the truth. And we have enough sway that some people would probably believe us. Or we can destroy all memories contained within him, send him back on the wheel, and he'll be reborn, but he will not be able to carry out this mission anymore because he won't remember it. I think we're just going to return it to the cycle. You will remember this, Thaos. Remember that no man can hide the truth forever, and all you've done was done in futility. Your memory shall be your penance.
Some acts cannot be forgiven, it seems.
I suppose we'll see if he can rise.
Aloth nods slowly. You can feel the pool of the intricate Adra capillaries that rise up from the depths below the chamber. Many are bound up with the great pillar and would pass to Boudica, but some are filled with the souls of the dead, bound for somewhere else entirely, and you know these are part of paths of rebirth. Stretching your presence as far as your spirit will allow, you make contact with one such path, and between it and yourself, you open up what feels like a long tunnel, sheer and undulating, like the gullet of some enormous beast. You shift your focus to Thaos' soul, clinging weakly to its vanquished shell, and with all your concentration you wrench it free and send it hurtling through the channel until it passes into the Adra vein and can be felt no more. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind, a word you spoke when you were one with Thaos in an ancient memory. You realize it is the word that activates the machine. They're gone. Oh, everybody's got something to say. Edir?
Thaos, he had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him?
I'm beyond those needs now. I got an answer to an old question.
Those can be hard to come by. I feel for people still looking for theirs. Easy to see what it means to them to have someone to look to for answers. You'll be feeling better soon then. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that?
He looks up at the machine. Yes.
Got a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. You can take my word for it. If it was in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd send every last one of those souls right back where they were supposed to go in the first place. So folks could get back to believing what they used to. And after what you've been through, though, I'm sure you got your own ideas. Better make it good.
Better make it good indeed.
Yes. Astounding. I always knew the Leaden Key stood for something big, but I didn't quite realize what I'd gotten myself into. And now, you're in the middle of something even bigger. With a decision that will affect millions. But even if you send the souls somewhere specific now, who knows what the next turn of the wheel will make of them? We can't really control what happens to them. Nor should we try. I had to see the monster Thaos had become to realize that.
Maybe so. I won't leave something this important up to chance. Maybe so.
It's your decision, of course. And whatever you decide, I'm glad our paths crossed in
Me too,
Gilded
Alof.
Vale.
Pelagina?
So much for Thaos, then.
The membranes of Pelagina's golden eyes sweep out and retract as she gazes into the great machine.
Now you have a chance to set things right, back to the proper order of things. It will take the Deerwood generations to recover, but at least these souls will find their way back to the wheel, as it should be.
Unless I take them all for myself. Ha! I become a god.
Never thought I'd see something like this in my travels. Lends a little perspective.
She shakes her head, marveling at the great chamber all around you.
It's a bitter thing to have come so far only to find that it was all for nothing. Somehow, I don't think we're any better off knowing.
She gazes ruefully at the Adra pillar. What now? Thank you for traveling with us. It's time I settled this. Thank you for traveling with me.
I'd probably still be twiddling my thumbs by the side of the road if you hadn't come along. Thanks for bringing
She scratches
us this far.
Utamak's head. And then Kana.
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It has been an honor to walk this road with you, and I will regret
You don't have
our
to.
parting.
You don't have to part. I will not stay in Rauatai long. I think, if it means to change, I see there is nothing I can do to stop it. But there are many places yet to see, mysteries to unravel. Kana inclines his head. And while I cannot say I aspire to match your fierceness, I cannot deny it saved us on many occasions. I thank you. Alright. I guess it's time to, do this. As you approach the machine, the path underfoot suddenly changes to a cobbled road. If you hadn't experienced visions like this already in Tir Evron, you'd be tempted to believe that the machine had sucked you into it and deposited you in the middle of nowhere. The sun blazes overhead, and the rolling meadows and thick forests on either side of the road could be anywhere in the Deerwood. A shrill cackle turns your head. Skane. Standing next to you is a malnourished man clad in a threadbare loincloth and manacles. His entire body is stripped with lash marks, and there are scarred pits where his nose and ears should be. He stinks of stale sweat and unwashed filth. You notice someone wandering down the road, but the figure's back is to you. The scarred slave has your attention for now.
You know something of quiet servitude, Watcher. Groveling and simpering before the gods whose aid you need, so that when they finally raise you to a place of power, you can seize what you
His black eyes glitter.
You have labored at the pleasure of others. That shriveled hag in Hadrat House, those pompous deer wooden zealots, the wretched tribesmen playing out their fantasies of grandeur. And then you cowered and knelt before the gods themselves, begging one paltry favor and receiving riddles and visions in response.
Okay, dude.
And now the gods give you orders and commands, even while you set out to fix what they cannot. Yet what have they offered you?
He slides closer, a sly grin on his wrecked face. His stench is overwhelming. They offered us the means to stop Boudica and Thaos. That's enough for me. A suspicious grimace crosses Alof's face. Get the feeling this is his way of giving you new orders on behalf of his own master. Be careful, Cassia. Given the breadth of the iron manacle, it's amazing that he can raise his bone-thin arms, but he does. And he points to the person walking the other way along the road.
The Exiled Queen is not an ungrateful patron.
You get a better look at the lone figure and realize that she's wearing robes tattered and singed, but fine nonetheless. On her head is the silhouette of a broken crown. She continues walking, her pace slow but determined.
Finish the work Thaos began. Strengthen Boudica with these souls and allow her to become the most powerful of all the gods, with you as her favor.
I've been working against Boudica this whole time. Why would she thank me now after I've defeated her most loyal servant? What do you mean by her favored? Helping Boudica would mean that the secrets of the gods stay hidden. I've been working against Boudica this whole time. The ragged hole in Skane's face wrinkles with disgust. Loyal and weak, Thaos proved his inadequacy when he failed to anticipate you. A plan exposed is worse than none at all. But you have proven resourceful. equal to the schemes of the gods. Boudica has a long memory, Watcher, for both friends and foes, and she keeps her oaths. What do you mean by her favored? The recipient of Boudica's blessings, she has always had a place for mortals of particular merit. If you help her now, she will become the most powerful of all the gods, and you will be the one who made her so. Think of the lifetimes of reward you would reap. Pelagina steps towards Skane. Equal parts madness and idiocy. Why would we form an alliance with one who has opposed us at every turn? Skane turns his flinty eyes on Pelagina. So says your companion who's been abandoned by her own country. Do you really trust her to make alliances for you? Helping Boudica would mean that the secrets of the gods stay hidden. He rubs his hands together, his black eyes gleaming. Safely hidden, yes. From the violent overlords who would cease to fear punishment in the next life. From the heavy-handed masters who would answer to no one. The world needs some schemes. Or are the souls of Kith so pure that you would snap the tenuous threads that bind society? Ella snarls. And Thaos makes a better overlord? This one is the god of slaves. What would he have left if the world What would he have left if the world were unchained from his mistress's lies? Skane takes a bundle at his feet and hefts the burden onto his back. I've explained the alternative, Watcher. Continue as a pawn of the gods or a partner of one. At the other end of the road, the figure stops. She turns her head just enough to look over her shoulder. Her face is mostly hidden, but one merciless eye peers at you from a cheek of rippled, scorched flesh. I won't help you.
You say that now, but when you're standing in front of the machine, considering the lifetimes and the powers that await you, we'll see what you do.
He laughs. He continues down the road, and when the sun suddenly drops below the horizon, it plunges you into momentary darkness. You come to your senses in front of the machine. All these evils we've seen, going all the way back to the Saints' War. It was all Boudica. Imagine if she was stronger on top of it all. Man, there are so many really cool options to pick. With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Thaos once stood. Before his people long ago, the great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. You have seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it would be a simple matter to influence that direction. Though as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Yikes. Speak the command to activate the machine. There's a shrieking of stone grinding against stone as old cogs loosen and begin to turn. You have only moments before the souls will be sent into the Adra vein. This will be your only chance at redirecting them. Okay, here's the choice. Send the souls back into the reincarnation cycle, so that's what Bareth wants us to do. Return the souls to the bodies they were intended for, so that's helping the Hollowborn. I think that was Hylia that wanted us to do that. Entropically disintegrate the souls, ending their existence, so that was what Rymergand wanted. Distribute the essence to existing souls in Deerwood to strengthen them. That's what Mogren wanted, our god. Allow the souls to pass through the vein to Boudica. Oh, that's such a fascinating decision right there. It really is. That is such a fascinating decision. Disperse the souls to an unknown location. That's what Whale wanted. Oh, man. I wish I was a evil character. Oh, that'd be so cool. It'd be so good. But we're not going to do... Classy wouldn't do that. Classy is going to follow Mogren. I think even knowing that Mogren is a false god, I think she still supports Mogren. And the fact that none of these are like... All of these benefit a god in some way. Like one of the gods in some way. Like if she's going to help one of the gods, it's going to be the god that she's followed this whole time. Despite what she's learned. So distribute the essence to existing souls in Deerwood to strengthen them. And who knows, hey, we are... Yeah, I mean, we're pretty set up to be maybe even the next Duke of the Deerwood, I mean, I don't know how it's decided, but Potentially, right? We could be the next Duke of Deerwood, and we could have some, really strong souls within our country. So, yeah. Distribute the essence to existing souls in Deerwood to strengthen them. You close your eyes and expand your perception outward, taking in the immense totality of the tens of thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence. You can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold all of them at once. And their force is so great, it feels as though they will tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Thaos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Thaos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the essence gathered in Sun and Shadow was sent across Deerwood to meld with and galvanize the souls of its people. In the days that followed, Deerwoodans confronting adversity and expecting to be at the mercy of their own weakness, instead found strength and the will to persevere. The aggrieved found themselves able to carry on after their losses. The desperate found new reasons to hope. And the new reasons to hope were many, for Widewind's legacy had come to an end after 15 years. Hollow births ceased in the Deerwood, and a country that only days ago had seemed on the brink of collapse was suddenly on the path to a recovery. A fitter, more resilient country in the preferred image of the god of the hunt. Lord Radric's zeal had brought him back to life once, but it would not do so again. Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance
Look
Bay
at the tree.
after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Deerwoodan standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive for the foreseeable future. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But once the dozens had regrouped in the wake of the riots, they quickly put an end to the criminal activity. They patrolled the streets in droves and administered their brand of law on any perceived offenders. This was not the erratic justice of the mob, however. The dozens had taken to heart the strengths of their adversaries, the Knights of the Crucible, and emerged as a far more organized, disciplined force. With the waning strength of the other Defiance Bay powers, the leadership of the dozens took the opportunity to establish its own group as the dominant peacekeeping force in the city. The dozens would soon find themselves overwhelmed by the problems of a leaderless metropolis. But they found an uneasy new partner in the surviving forces of the Crucible Knights, who understood the city's infrastructure and were able to keep the worst of its problems under control. Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been disabled, it had not seen its last use. Heritage Hill was rebuilt,
and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine. The initiates slew a handful of the new settlers under cover of night and watched as history repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors. After this second incident, the district would remain
bring down the
abandoned.
tower, guys.
The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an Animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay, and few Animancers survived the first day. Many Deerwoodens took the end of Widewind's legacy as a sign, both that the gods did not approve of animancy, and that the purging of Animancers in Defiance Bay had been enough to satisfy them. In time, their rage would subside, and a number of surviving Animancers remained in and around Defiance Bay, often taking to the wilds to practice their science without repercussions. The town of Deerford had seen the last of the cult of Scan. Dark rumors about the town's many curses quickly faded, and travelers soon returned. Abidon's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Deerwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abidon's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Airglenvoth rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Kairon's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan steel and build new marvels with the White Forge. However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serens, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail. It would be many generations before the region saw peace. The Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russetwood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcomed in the Russetwood. Harmka's death had brought the Devil of Carrick little satisfaction. In time, her taste for vengeance soured. What replaced it was a hunger to feel something, anything, new. Summer had thinned the snowpack twice over when she felt the joint at her elbow first begin to stiffen. She turned her back on the hopes of animancy and civilization and walked east. She pushed through the mountains, past Raid Ceres, and into the broad plains of Ishamiddle. She had forgotten what it was like to simply journey, no goal or destination in mind. Though she felt nothing more than the steady thump of her feet on the road, the endless horizons and grassy meadows were new to her. She measured her time in the gradual rusting of her body and was satisfied. Her movements slowed, but so did the world around her. Waist-high grasses undulated intact in the wind, as gradual as the tides. Sparrows and blackjays made steady pilgrimages across the sky, each flap of their wings a solemn salute. She could hardly move when she found something she had never seen before: the ocean. With the last of her strength, she pulled herself beneath the water, content at last to feel the movement of currents and the constant caress of the waves.
That's sad.
Zawa came to believe that the Dakan had survived through him. He returned to Ishamiddle, where he united a number of small, vulnerable tribes under the beliefs of his people. He called them Takanakin, kin of Takan, and under his tutelage, they became strong enough to resist would-be conquerors. Zawa taught his secrets not to one chosen person, but to all, that the line of knowledge might never be broken. Once Maneha had made peace with her memory, she decided the time had come to face her more recent past. For the first time in decades, she returned home to Rawatai, and she found that it had changed as much as she had. New districts had sprung up along the coast, while others withered into crumbling husks, and the streets had changed their course as surely as rivers. Her parents wept with joy at her return. They still ran the old spice shop, and in its many aromas and flavors, she found memories of the places she'd traveled and the people she'd known. She told her story, bottle by bottle, and began to build a life on the soil she knew best. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every Thane and Earl
Hell yeah.
in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. After the death of the Master below, a strange quiet fell over the endless paths of Adnua. The attacks on the fortress above ceased, Adnua's silent titan the closest remaining thing to a master in its musty, forgotten passages. Pallegina had gone against the Duke's Bell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfoth to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people strengthened by the Watcher's gift of souls, the Valian republics found themselves struggling to keep up with their new competitors. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Pallegina was banished from the republics for several years. After the southern forest of Erglonfoth opened to both the republics and the Deerwood, the Valians found that the combined efforts of all three nations had created a robust trade network. The Duchessa of Biajepi granted Pallegina a pardon for her foresight, though it took many years for her to regain the trust of her superiors and brothers in the Order. With your business concluded, Haravius quietly took his leave and headed home to Thane Bog. The elders of the Fisher Crane had not warmed to Haravius in his absence, and when he arrived, he was denounced and scorned. Haravius spoke of his deeds and of his communion with Galawain, yet none would support his petition to return to the tribe. One by one, starting with the oldest, Haravius challenged each member of the council to single combat, humiliating the Riau in a series of savage duels. With half the council bloodied and shamed, the elders at last acknowledged Haravius' strength, announcing him a hunter of the Fisher Crane tribe. Upon being granted this title, Haravius calmly left the village and embarked again on his life of wandering. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Through a number of quiet inquiries, he soon found his way into the underground organization of Aethasians known as the Night Market. Ironically, in learning that the gods had been fabricated, Adair found his faith in Aethus renewed, and that his god was neither alive nor truly a god had become irrelevant. He rose quickly through the ranks of the Night Market for his optimism and for his bold leadership, his ultimate goal to make the Deerwood a place that would welcome followers of the Shining God.
I like that.
When the dust settled in sun and shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Thaos Arkannon, his former master. He saw where the Grand Master had gone wrong and what would be required to undo the harm Thaos had wrought. With a flick of his wrist, he burned Thaos' robe, headdress, and every other symbol of the man's power. Never again, he vowed, should Kith live in fear and blind obedience to an authority they did not understand. Armed with the knowledge and courage he had gained on his journeys with the Watcher, he set out on the long and lonely task of dismantling the Leaden Key. With the Watcher's goals accomplished and his own vows fulfilled, Kanarua sailed back toward Rawatai, thinking on the lessons his travels had provided him. By the time he landed at Tekoa, he understood what his path must be. Standing before the Lore College, Kanarua explained that the tablet he sought had been destroyed, and so a true interpretation of the Tonvi Oratoa could no longer exist. The people of Rawatai would have to create their own. He described the many strange things he had seen in his travels, and announced his intent to pursue the accumulation of knowledge abroad, seeking answers to new questions. True to his word, Kana soon set sail on yet another expedition, and in Tekoa, his passionate accounts inspired many to follow in his footsteps. With Thaos defeated and the souls released from Sun and Shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past.
Good.
Durrance used Mogren's strength only until Thaos had been cast from the world, and then swore off her influence entirely. Regret came to weigh heavily on his mind, and a man who had never previously lacked for words or opinions came to embrace silence and contemplation. He continued to wander, penniless and destitute, searching now not for the reason for his goddess's silence, but for a mechanism for revenge. The charred robes he continued to wear as a reminder that he had been burned by his goddess, and not just by the flames of the god.
Oh boy.
In her 4-month journey back to Nositoc, Sagani found that the landscape she traveled had become strangely colorless, the food bland and unsatisfying. She watched the Deerwood, Air Glonfoth, the Valian Republics, and the lands beyond slide by with a dull sense of dread. She returned home to great celebration, yet the words of joy and congratulations rang hollow to her. Old beloved songs sounded toneless. The rituals of changing seasons became drudgery, and Sagani experienced her life back in Masuk as if in someone else's skin. So she fought to feel the worth of her actions, or at least to let her village feel them. She led ever longer and more ambitious hunts, mentoring the younger rangers who followed her. On one such expedition, her party was beset by a blizzard, and she pressed on where her companions turned back. She did not return to Masuk. For you, the death of Thaos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.
That's it, right? And there we have it. It's the end of Pillars of Eternity. Maybe we can actually see the credits. Oh geez, you can really fly through them. 16. Alright, wow. What a great game. What a great game. I think I enjoyed it more the second time than my first time. I liked it the first time, but this time, man, it was really good. I really, really loved that epilogue there. I wish every RPG did that. A lot of them do that, but they're often not as extensive as that. I thought that was really good. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. That was very good. I'm excited to get into the second game. I really am. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm thinking about all the epilogue still, really. The fate of our companion. Sagani surprises me. I guess she was feeling pretty down after finding Persok. But to just leave her tribe like that, man. That's tough to read. It's sad. She was really cool. The devil's story was really sad too. But also, it was like sad but really sweet and nice for her. I'm glad she found peace like that. Zawa was good too. Zawa, that was great. I'm so proud of my boy Zawa. All right, well, that's it, guys. That's it. I suppose for you guys, it'll be tomorrow. You'll see Pillars of Eternity 2 come up. For me, I'll probably have a couple days before I get that going, but yeah. Pillars of Eternity 2 is coming up next. Along with, on August 11th, we have the Pathfinder DLC that's coming out. The last DLC for Pathfinder, I think? Maybe? I don't know. Who knows? So that'll be done on August 11th as well. But yeah, those are the two games coming up. Obviously, I don't expect the Pathfinder DLC to take too long, maybe like 20 hours or so, I'd imagine. Probably not much more than that. I don't know. It's a roguelike. I'm not good at roguelikes, so it could take a while. But that might be a game that we'll have to see how it goes. But Pillars of Eternity 2 is the next big game. And that'll probably hold us over until November-ish, December-ish. Which Obsidian's coming out with another game, I think in November. I forget what it's called, but it has a really unique kind of art design. It's set in like medieval times. It's like a medieval art kind of art to it. That should be a lot of fun. We also have in December, if it doesn't get delayed, Hogwarts Legacy in that time. And then next year we have so much, but that's a year away. Pillars of Eternity 2 is what we're going to be focused on for the next few months. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. We got to 200 subscribers during this playthrough. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And until the next game, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful life, and find happiness. I want to see a happy epilogue for you guys after this game of life is finished. But until then, I'll catch you later.